Okay guys, welcome back to Everyday Workshop, and today we are working on the 1953 GMC. Today is disassembly day. We are going to tear down all the sheet metal except the cab, get that all taken away so we can start really working on this truck. But first, let's get these wheels on the truck because I need everything in my shop on wheels because it is a very small area. All right guys, let's get started. I'm not really that impressed with these Harbor Freight dollies, mainly because they're plastic wheels. But it's what I ended up with, so it's what we're going to use. Okay, let's see if I'm even going to be able to push this thing. That's a maybe. Oh, shit. Nope. Once it gets stuck in the crevice, it's tough. There we go. Okay, that's not bad. Wonder if it's worse because it's heavier on the front. Ah! Okay. Sort of works. I can get it over if I need to, which is all that really matters. Now, when I set these up, I did put wheel locks on them. It's really smart to do this, guys, especially with these artillery rims. At least in my area, in SoCal, these are really hot. And man, will people just steal them off your truck. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is actually just label everything. When you want to organize stuff, it's a really great idea to just grab a pack of these. You can write in what they are, stash your bolts on there, and just have them forever. What was funny about this is I was looking for these to show you guys how to organize, and I couldn't find them. And the irony of that is amazing. I need to stash stuff in a better place. Okay, so I'm going to just label all the bolts and go through it. Now, what I'm going to do is just tear down one side, kind of show you guys what I'm doing. We'll knock out the other side, and then we'll start on the front. You ever just set a wrench down and not know where the hell it went? Don't let me ever talk about organization. I had to grab a whole new one because now that wrench is somewhere. It's now part of the shop. Jesus. Okay, guys, we are underneath the truck, and what I'm going to do is just take off the running boards. Now, the running boards are held on by these brackets that come off the frame here. You can see what I meant by it's painted. All right, up to here. And that's where the painting stops. See if I can zoom for you guys. So this bracket here comes out, and then it just holds two bolts, and then it has a bracket back there, or two brackets. And then it's supposed to have one here, but this bracket's missing. I do have one to eventually replace it. So I'm going to go ahead and snag out all these bolts and get the running boards off. Now, these bolts here and here are actually part that bolt on the fender, but because this is not properly placed at all with the angle iron, it's super difficult to get out. So I'm going to knock these out, and then for the fender, you actually come in here and you knock out the one at the bottom for the brace, and then I think you have a bolt down here underneath. So let me get all these out, and we'll rip the fender off. Whew. See, this fender welt I had actually put on myself, and a lot of the hardware I'm taking off, the reason why I'm saving is because this is all stuff that I have already replaced when I took the bed off before to do the rear end. Brand new bolts just decided to cross thread. Well, nothing a cutoff wheel can't fix. See, this is what I mean, guys. So each side has a lap weld patch, and then inside here, well, just try to show you as best I can. Up in here has been fixed, but this is like, I don't know, an 1/8 inch of Bondo. And then on this side, it It also has a lap weld patch. So, I don't know, I might be looking for new fenders. And then this side is completely gone. This is no big deal. You can just patch this up, but I don't know. We'll see if I can source some cheap original fenders. This side is done. Now we just need to take the bumper off. Now I went over this in the introduction video, but this is a Barden bumper. So they were an aftermarket utility bumper that you could buy. So back in the day, that's why it's actually pretty well shaped for the fender. Didn't come with the truck when I got it. I sourced it for super cheap. I'm super happy about it. I'm actually the one that painted it white. Only downside is I really want to run a hitch, because I'll be towing with this truck. Now, the downside is the hitch will be about here. Obviously, when you get like a heavy trailer or an RV trailer, I don't want to be bumper towing. So I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think I should do? Should I can go to the original bumper and then just run a hitch, like the bumpers you normally see on these trucks? Or I can keep this and try to find a way to maybe get it to come out here and drop down. I'm really not sure. Down in the comments, guys, let me know what you think. So let's go ahead and get this off, but I wanted to show you underneath real quick. How nice the truck looks after I kind of fixed it up. So this is the whole side that's painted. Again, the rear diff was re-geared, all new bearings, new brake lines, everything. And that's how the bed used to look before I've been using the heck out of it and beating it up. But let's snag these 4 bolts out real quick, get the bumper off, and then we can start removing the bed. And all this wiring I actually put in, so most of this is all new, because when I got in here, this was literally lamp wire. Ran all the way from about halfway to the truck, it was spliced in, and ran all the way this way. So I put all new wire in, especially for the tail lights, and also for the trailer lights. I have been able to use this just once, and it worked out pretty well. So, and I have a little disconnect right here. Let's see if I can get that out with one hand. It's kind of nice. And then a little zip tie here. And we're ready to get this bad boy off. Okay, this thing's super heavy because it is like pretty much 1/4-inch plate all the way around. So I'm going to try to prop this side up with this. See if that helps. Ha! Smooth. Oh man. See, when I wired these new taillights in, I went ahead and put these weather clips in. Really made it easier taking these on and off. Before they had those like spade clips, but these are obviously going to last a lot longer and keep your wires from corroding. Okay, now what we need to do is just get the tailgate off. So it's just these 2 bolts that hold on this hinge here. Yeah, just loosen one side. Now these are supposed to have a captured nut, or it's welded on the back from the factory into the stake pocket, but mine was broken off, so I just put a nutsert in there. So stuff like this is what I'm talking about. Like all this is just gone. I mean, that's just all Bondo. And that's why it's like you really look at this bedside, it looks great, but once you dig into it, I mean, it's just all Bondo. Even up on here, it's all Bondo. You can see where right in here, where it's kind of chipped a little. That's Bondo. Really unfortunate, man. I really feel like I should have looked at better when I got it, but it is what it is now. All right, guys, it is time to take the bedside off and probably get that can out of the back. Now, all that you really need to do to take these off is there's actually supposed to be like a through bolt. It's like almost like an all thread that goes all the way through and then has a nut on each side. That's already gone. I never put it back because mine was completely rusted through. So you just come over here, you just snag these bolts off, and then you snag these 3 bolts off, and those are what clamps it to the rear cross sill. And you're supposed to have bolts all the way through into your bed, but I do not have that. And that's it. The bed sides will just fall off. So let's go ahead and snag these bolts off. I'll get the bed off, and then I'll do that other one off camera. And all that we should have left standing is just a platform. Since this sits, the bed sides are independent to the actual bed. All right, let's do it. And if I remember correctly, these are not light. Yeah, that's going to move. Ooh. There we go. So this is what I meant by this is a shop panel too. Now, normally there's supposed to be a little like almost like a bottom bracket that's all a piece of it that actually hooks onto this sill here, but that's completely gone. And you can feel the ridge as you go along it, that this was cut and then a new piece was put in. So I think we'll be replacing this as well, which is super unfortunate because I wanted to keep as much original metal as possible. And I have searched for an original bed, but man, an original long bed in decent shape, I just could not come upon. Okay guys, now all that we need to do is to remove the bed. Now the bed is held onto the frame with these 4 bolts on each side, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they have that along the other side. And then I have some smaller bolts in between the slats just holding the wood together. Now again, I don't have it on every one because this is actually not meant for a 53, it's for 54, so the holes didn't line up with the cross sills. I just did enough to kind of keep everything in place while I was using it. And see, so the bolt comes through here, through the cross sill, and a little metal piece, and then through the wood, which is factory of how it had it, and then a rubber piece. I went ahead and went with the original wood, but I think next time I'm going to maybe remake these out of metal, but we'll see. So what we'll do is we'll jump under here and just snag these nuts off the bottom here, and then these here, and just lift everything off. So let me grab all this out, and I'll get back to you guys. Man, can you see how much this construction lumber warped? I mean, it's nuts. Yeah. So I actually did cut the proper grooves into it. This is practice. So as I've kind of mentioned before in other videos, I actually do woodworking. So I'll be making my own bed. And I'm going to do a whole video on that. So if you guys are interested, put a comment down below that you guys want to see that. And I'll really go do an in-depth video on that. But this was the practice run and actually came out really well. And that's just how dirty the bed's gotten. I was abusing this thing over the last 2 years. All right, let's get everything stripped down, and that should be it for the back. Probably the hardest part about making your own bed is going to be making sure you get these grooves right for the offset washers. Now, as you can see, I was pretty off on this one. It was a good practice run, and that's why I wanted to do it, go through the trouble of actually making it, even though I was not going to keep it, was to give me a good practice run on how to do it. And eventually, I got closer to getting it right. But I'll go through how I did it and what I learned when I remake the bed. Okay, guys, and the bed's off. So this is just the cross sills. This is a long bed, so anybody watching is probably going to tell me that I need 4 of these. I know that. It's just the placement for the 4th I couldn't really find. So I've seen a full article on it. I know where it is at in the book. It just didn't look right. But when I have the proper cross sills for this bed, I'll be able to line it up with the holes and kind of know where to put it. So I left it out when I did it. Anyways, this was actually pristinely nice and satin black when I first painted it. The reason why it looks like this is because this thing has been leaking like a sieve. So that's all diff fluid. And I've struggled with that, so we're going to go through that and redo it, frustratingly. And then, if you're not familiar with this torque tube, these bolts here are torqued to a certain spec, and then they hold in the pinion bearing. Now down at the bottom, there's another one. Let's see if I can show you in. And that one right there is leaking like crazy. So that's another thing. And then all of this is actually spread out from coming down the torque tube because the transmission has been leaking because it's all cork seals. So I actually have a solution for all of this. As soon as it happens, we're going to come through, clean up all the grease and the dirt, get this looking really nice, you know, just like this was. And this here is transmission fluid that leaked through the bed, so needs a lot of cleaning. But we'll get it all done, get everything leaked up, because when I am done, my goal is to have one leak-free truck, which is actually kind of hard with an original style truck. And I didn't bother with the exhaust because we're putting a new engine in, all new parking brake cables. And then I put these load leveling shocks in. It actually helps a lot because I was hauling a lot of heavy stuff. I'm going to use the truck. I'm actually thinking about coming in over here and putting in helper bags. Let me know what you guys think about that. Again, keeping the stock rear, everything, just putting in some helper bags and then going back to regular shocks here. I actually really like that idea, so we're going to see what we can do there. And get the shop cleaned up, and then we'll get the truck backed up, and I'll come back when we start on the front end. Okay guys, the shop is all cleaned up and I have positioned the truck to take the front clip off. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get the engine fired up because I realized we haven't heard it run on the channel yet. And it would be nice to hear it run one last time before it's pulled and a new engine goes in. Now let's see if I can get in this thing without the running boards. And again, this is the GMC Hydra-Matic truck, which means it is a 4-speed automatic. It was the first year GMC or GM period ever put an automatic transmission in a truck. So you have to put it in neutral because it does have a neutral safety switch, and that's safe anyways. Factory push button start. That starter sounds healthy. It usually takes a little while. Choke isn't adjusted right. There we go. And there you guys have it. It runs really well. Like I said, I put about 1,500 miles on it. Does have that bad lifter tick and has to do with the rocker arm on the #1 cylinder. Other than that, I've never had any issues with it. You can see it has a ton of blow-by, though. I think it was starting to develop an exhaust leak. But it's very reliably driven. And that leaks oil like crazy. I think I don't even change the oil anymore. I just got used to the idea that it was self-changing. But every 500 miles, I put about 5 quarts in. And it wasn't burning it. No, it was just pouring it out everywhere. Okay, I went ahead and threw it up on jack stands because this is going to be a lot easier to take apart if I have access up into the wheel well. So let's pop the wheels off real quick and get into this. The hardest part about this for me is going to be the fact that I've never taken any of the front off. I did the back before, so that was super easy, but this is going to be an adventure. You guys get to come along with me. Okay, actually, I think I'm going to change gears and not start on the inside of the wheel wells just yet. I'm actually just going to get the front bumper off and then drain the rad. We'll just start getting all this out. And then we'll take this off and see what I need to do, because I think I need to get this mustache part off before I get to the front there. So that takes us under here. So I'll just come over here and pop this off with these 3 bolts on each side, and we'll get started. Okay, so what we're going to do now is jump down to the pepcock right here, and I'm going to undo it. Oh, there's no good draining spot, so that's just going to pour everywhere. Let's see. Not so bad. Alright guys, I have drained the radiator. The top hose is already off. I already snagged off the bottom hose, which you can see down there. Now I just need to go through and get the last of the bolts on each side. But I've been kind of trying to use light here, but I have a ton of light in my shop. So what I'm going to do is just snag off the 3-ish bolts on each side and finally just take the hood off. That way I have direct light here. And then we'll finish up, get the radiator out, and then I already kind of looked at everything, so I get how to take it apart now. So we'll start snagging all that out. Okay. All right, we're back. I got everything, all these bolts out and stuff, but the hood latch won't come out until that's out. So I just went ahead and soaked everything down ridiculously with PB Blaster. And what I'll do now is get underneath here, and there's 3 bolts on this side and 3 bolts on this side. That should just let this come out. And then I have some bolts on the inside that I need to yank out. So let me go ahead and just get this whole front off. Then we'll take this out, and I should have access to all the bolts I need to take each fender off. I cannot believe how every bolt just comes right out. That's insane. I mean, now that I said that everything's going to break, but that is awesome. Alright guys, that fender is off, and man did that kick my butt. So, just to show how badly beaten up this thing, it just ripped right out from the fender support. You can tell it's all Bondo and everything in there. You got all this in here. This is where the original parking light was supposed to be, but that's all blown out. And then And obviously the biggest problem. So in my eyes, this fender's toast. I am not keeping this fender. I already have a replacement for it, so I'm not too worried. But man, is that thing beat up. Now that's pretty much everything to take off, except over here, for some reason, these bolts actually, here you go. These bolts actually come out from the inside of the cab. So I have to jump in and take them out from over there. But that's the last thing holding the inner fender on. What I'm actually really surprised by is the fact that the inner fender is super solid. There's actually nothing besides surface rust. But come take a look at how bad this cab is. Damn. And that's that galvanized sheeting that's inside. So obviously, all of that ought to be replaced. I mean, you can even see where they push Bondo into it. Oh man. Okay, for the core support, it's just these bolts here. All right, and this is the last piece. And the front is finally off. Oh man. Okay guys, here we are with the entire front end stripped. I'm really excited because the frame looks really good. All the major components look good. Obviously it all needs to be gone through and painted, but as far as needing to be replaced, I think everything looks solid. Okay guys, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching, and man, am I tired. That front end kicked my butt. We got everything stripped though in the back, the front. Next video, we will be stripping the interior of the cab, lifting it up and putting it on a cart, building the cart and putting it back there so we can dig into the engine and transmission. We will be rebuilding the transmission here on the channel. So if that's something you guys are interested, please like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and hit that bell notification. It really does help me out, guys. About 90% of my subscribers right now, or watchers, aren't subscribed. So if you don't mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It helps me out and gives me motivation to keep this going if you want to see it. Again, I'm new to YouTube and I'm new to a lot of this. So if you guys have any suggestions, drop it down in the comments. We'll talk about it. Until next time, you guys take care.